The name Tuba is mentioned in the Holy Quran in Surah Al-Ra'd, verse 29 as follows. أَلَا بِذِكْرِ اللَّهِ تَطْمَئِنُّ الْقُلُوبُ. Those who believe and whose hearts find satisfaction in the remembrance of Allah, for without doubt in the remembrance of Allah do hearts find satisfaction. الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ طُوبَى لَهُمْ وَحُسْنُ مَآبٍ. For those who believe and work righteousness is every blessedness and a beautiful place of final return.
Which is a first for us. We are welcoming the Alwaha Institute for the Deaf at AL-ጨゥበዓ. So it gives us great honor to be hosting Waagah, alhamdulillah. We have with us Dr. Qasim De Wet, who will be the khatib for today with the English talk. Unfortunately, our sign language interpreter, Abdul Wahid Lakai, wasn't able to make the Jumu'ah proceedings today, but we do have our mu'adhin. It is the mu'adhin who's performed the first, it's a deaf mu'adhin who performed the first adhan by a deaf person at a masjid in Cape Town, and that is none other than Brother Fakhri Musa. So alhamdulillah, we are most fortunate to be able to host Dr. De Wet, who is the CEO of Waagah Foundation, and he'll be covering the plight of the deaf in the Western Cape. Tafadal Sheikh.
Yes, it is. No. No.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Tamav, there's a CAA 87510 BMW that's blocking the way, parked inside of our grounds.
Yes.
On the yellow dotted line there, CAA BMW 87510 white. Please, if we can remove the car min fadlik, it's blocking everybody from entering the masjid. Jazakumullah khairan. Shukran.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين سيدنا ونبينا ومولانا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. جماعة المسلمين مولانا وسيم جزاك الله خيرا and assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. A few years back, I was fortunate enough to find myself in China, mainland China, not Hong Kong. And I so much wanted to attend Jumu'ah in China. The problem with China is that none of the taxi drivers and the Chinese people, they don't speak English. And if you want to go anywhere, you have to have a card, a business card, to show to them, and they'll take you, and hopefully you don't end up in another country or something. And so you need a card for when you go out, and you need another one for when you come back. And so I had to ask for directions from a Chinese Muslim. It was very difficult. Eventually, the person wrote down the address, and I gave my bag with all the other cards and the money and everything to my wife, and I said, I'm off to Jumu'ah. So I don't know whether that was pure yaqeen or stupidity. But when I came out of the masjid, I realized that there is no way that I can catch a taxi. I don't have money, and I have no way of telling him where I came from or where he needs to take me. And I stood outside like a beggar, asking everybody who comes out, you speak English, you speak English, you speak English. And maybe one of the last musallis who came out said, Naam, English. And he was a young Saudi guy. And you know, I could have cried. And I realized that if a person is not able to communicate to somebody else, you cannot get anything done. And if you're outside of your comfort zone, even more so. So today I want to narrate to you the story of a community that is right amongst us. They are not other people's children, family. They are our own family, our own children, our own parents. Some of you must know at least an elderly person, a grandfather, grandmother, who has started to lose their hearing and then have to start wearing a hearing aid in order to hear us. So years ago there was a program about this Opa, and every time they talk to him, then he goes, "Huse?" And so this community are walking around and are asking, "Huse?" And we are blissfully unaware of their plight. They don't get taught in their mother tongue. They are being forced to speak an oral language. If you can't hear, you aren't able to verbalize, because we repeat what we hear. In what used to be in grade 1 sub A, the teacher teach you k, at, cat, and then afterwards you are able to say cat. If you can't hear that, you can't say cat. A baby in the mother's womb at 18 weeks, the first sense they develop is the hearing. At 27 weeks, the mother is encouraged to talk to the baby in the stomach. Even the father sometimes come and listen and chat to the baby. Hey, when you're here, we'll do this and that, and don't worry about it. Your dad's going to be the most important person in your life, as long as you say Papa first. We're also encouraged to recite to the child while he's still in the womb. Which shows and tells me, and I'm no scientist or medical doctor, it tells me that the hearing is probably the most important sense that a person has to obtain and have. Somebody also asked me some years ago, is it more difficult to be deaf or to be blind? I said, I don't know, sometimes I don't see, sometimes I don't want to hear, I don't know which one it is. But I realized afterwards that hearing is worse. Because if you look around you, blind people, they even have a Quran in Braille. There's no such thing for a deaf person. A young child, a deaf child, because a parent has no idea what to do with a deaf child. That child has to go to a school, a special school, and they can only have access to special education. Why? Because they are special. And if you ask them, Brother Fakhri, is deaf people, are they special? No. He's not been treated special. And his young brother next to him, they're not being treated special. And I tell you why? In the family unit, because deaf people are not being taught in sign language, and neither are they being taught sign language. So a parent has no idea how to communicate with a deaf child. We find our way. We learn some signs. Similarly to you learning some signs when you drive in traffic, yes? So that way, they learn those signs, but it's not a language, it's just gesturing. And as soon as they move out of that family unit or that school community, other deaf people don't understand them. They don't have a uniform language. Today, alhamdulillah, they do. They also spend 18 months in one grade. And in that one class, there's maybe 4 different groupings, age groupings. So for example, there's a grade 1 and grade 2, Afrikaans and English in one class. And then they must talk with their hands behind their back. It's the same as saying for a hearing person, please talk to us with your mouth closed. At 18 years old, they get kicked out of school, they are frustrated, they give the teachers hell, they give their parents hell, and we say, oh well, you know, they're deaf, they're special. So, as a community, it is our responsibility to play a role in ensuring that deaf people are included in our community. Anas bin Malik, may Allah be pleased with him, he narrated that the Nabi Muhammad said that none of you will have faith until you love for your brother what you love for yourself. If we're sitting in the masjid today, we would love to believe that we have faith. I'm sure of it. And so then we should love for our brother what we love for ourselves. And that doesn't mean call them special and put them in isolation somewhere in a special school or at home in the back room. No, it means we have to provide them with the tools to become inclusive in our society. Abdul Wahid would have shown you that you can speak in another language, and if we can do that, then the deaf can be included in our society. So at the moment, the two of them are trying to figure out what I'm saying. Fakhri has been teaching the gentleman next to him. I forget his name. Come, interpret. He says no, he's too nervous. So now he is in fact trying to interpret because he's been coming to sign language classes and interpreters classes at Alwaha. But today, Abdul Wahid is the only male Muslim interpreter in South Africa. Just think about it. I believe, and I say this with respect, that the Muslim community has been slow in beginning to understand the plight of the deaf, and not just the deaf, all disabilities. The special school in Wynberg for the deaf is almost a century old. Can you tell me where there is another school in South Africa, Muslim school or institute that teaches the deaf? There is one, I'll tell you about it later. So what do we do as a Muslim community if we want to believe that we are people of faith? We should provide quality access to the deaf community. Quality access to quality education. We should include them in society. How? By communicating with them. Deafness is not ultimately their handicap. We are the handicap. We cannot communicate with them. That is their handicap. And I'm not talking about that one on the golf course, right? 24, 18, whatever, not that one. So we have to learn to communicate with them and acknowledge them. If I can just quickly ask you, is there anyone in the masjid here, besides that group, who has spoken or communicated or tried to communicate with a deaf person in the last month? Nada? 2 months? Year? They live amongst us, they're right here. So it shows that we don't acknowledge him because we can't communicate with them, and I understand that. But from today onwards, inshallah, I hope that we can be deaf aware, that when we meet a deaf person, believe me, he wants to talk to you, she wants to talk to you. Just try it. Just don't try and shout at them, they can't hear you. I see some people want to speak to the deaf and they speak loud and they contort their faces. I'm not sure what that's all about, but inshallah, they try. So just try Just try and ask them, what's your name, where you're from, and you'll see eventually you find a way to communicate with them. Because their language is all about signing, about facial expression, about position, you know. So for example, I'm just trying to use an example now. So you know or you don't know. It's the same sign, but it's a different facial expression and movement. So you can't tell a guy, you know, oh, I don't know, with an excited face. It doesn't make sense. You know, don't do it like oh, I don't know. And then we tend to call them deaf and dumb. Or, you know, the Kala community, you know, we make fun of everything. So a deaf person walk past you and you say, how's it, dummy? You know, and I just said earlier on, the handicap is the fact that we can't communicate with him. So if I call this guy dumb, then that means I'm dumberer. Yes? So as a Muslim community, we got to become aware of this. We got to provide quality, access to quality education. We've got to include them, communicate with them, acknowledge them, and do things with them. You know, 85% due to the education system, 85% or more are in fact illiterate in a spoken and a written language. So I don't need to tell anybody here how difficult it is for a person like that to find a job. So they're all dependent on government. So off they go to SASA office. I don't know if any of you have had the opportunity to go. Maybe the older gentlemen or ladies, you got to go to SASA, right, to get your pension. And believe me, it's one of the most difficult things to do. They have a wad of paper like this, and they write it down and they ask, spell your name. Don't even know what you're saying, let alone able to spell your name. So they are the most marginalized community. And we have to do something about this. Fortunately, you know, some people do food. I like doing orphanages. Some people do old age homes. Alhamdulillah. Everybody is doing something somewhere. Because we want to be beneficial to mankind. And so there is an organization called Alwaha Institute for the Deaf, situated in Bridgetown, Petunia Road. Most people ask me, where is that? Do you know where Golden Plate is in the Islands? Anybody had a Gatsby there lately? When you have your Gatsby, and you stand with your back to Golden Plate, you look across the road on the corner, that's where Alwaha is. You'll see the name on the board there. We thought of changing it to Alwaha, Gatsby is available here. And then everybody will know that is. So I would like to I love for my brother what I love for myself. And therefore, if you cannot do it, you don't have the time, even if you don't have money, because we're community funded, come and help us. We have a big building there. That building, it used to be the Sarah Fox Children's Hospital. And it was destroyed when we purchased it. We still have to pay for that. I'm talking tongue in the cheek here. So we need all kinds of assistance. Besides financial assistance, people with expertise who can help us restore this building to its former glory. And we started a Montessori, inclusive for a Montessori school, inclusive for deaf people. So it's not a deaf school. Although we are a deaf organization, it is inclusive. And we would like those of you who are here in the masjid, if you know of any deaf children going to these special schools, refer their parents to us for an alternative to education, quality education. A child from Panorama who is deaf would have to travel all the way to Witterboma, Weinberg, to be educated. So they have school buses. And the school bus don't come to your area, you would have to take your child there. If you're fortunate enough to take your child there, If the school are full, then your child will not attend school. So access and quality education is the problem. Come and assist an organization like Alwaha. I mean, it's not like Alwaha. Unfortunately, Alwaha is the only organization that has a madrasa for the deaf, that has inclusive education for the deaf, preschool only at the moment. We're starting with primary intake next year. You can come there and learn sign language, as you'll hear from Brother Salman. Come and learn sign language on a Saturday. We also do interpreters classes. Unfortunately, it's not certified as yet, but you are able to interpret for the community. And unfortunately, no, you would not be able to interpret at any government, official government functions. And the reason we started the interpreters classes is because I don't do justice to any deaf person in the Jamaat. They go home with absolutely no message from Jumu'ah, from the Jumu'ah lecture. So we have to, and that's the reason I said to you that Abdul Wahid, the only male interpreter, because you know what's going to happen if we bring a female interpreter, right? We'll create a furore in the masjid. So the masajid also has to be, must buy into the concept. If there's only one deaf person in your masjid, then you should make the effort to get maybe one of the Hafiz or the Adins or students come and learn to interpret, so that we have a person there. We have to show the world that the Muslim community is proactive. Alwaha has been doing that for the deaf. And because the community supports us, all of you have a hand in it. Alhamdulillah. I mean, we were, in 2019, we took 60 deaf people on Umrah. 60. It was the biggest deaf group ever to enter Makkah and Medina. So this is something, this is an achievement from this community, way down in the south. Alhamdulillah. So it's a first on a Umrah trip. It's the only madrasa still, and the first to champion inclusive education. Because this has been a policy of our government for ages. And they just don't have the umpha to do it, the chutzpah. So the Muslim community have to do it, to show the world that we are the leaders in education, inshallah. And just to leave you with this message, that if you cannot provide us with skills or funding, then at least be an ambassador for the deaf. Go and talk to your families, your friends. First of all, let us fill the school. We don't just want any Mickey Mouse school. You know, some of the Islamic education schools, they get a bad name because somehow they're not doing things right and professionally. We want a school of excellence. And so we need assistance in that way as well. What is the way forward? And if we can do this right in Cape Town, then we can roll it out to the other provinces, inshallah. It's another feather in the cap for the Muslim community. And indeed, inshallah, maybe in my lifetime, we will also have a Montessori high school, inshallah. So I would invite the brothers, when you go for that Gatsby, okay, well, we're not open after hours on a Friday or Saturday, but when you pass there, pop in, just come and see, visit us, and you will see. So, in closure, when you see a deaf brother, run to meet them, communicate with them, learn to communicate with them. Make sure, even if you're not able to do it, that they have access to quality education. The thing with the Montessori school, we're already establishing partnership with other Montessori schools. Once we have the model working, we want to roll it out to all Montessori schools in the Western Cape, so that your child or your child's child, your grandchildren, whoever is born deaf or becomes deaf, are able to have access to schools in your community, inshallah. Come out and help us, inshallah. We have somebody standing outside there. Take a brochure, get our number, contact us. See how you can help, inshallah. Shukran. Wa sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammadin nabi ummihi wa ala alihi wa sahbihi barik salim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وبه نستعين نحمده ونصلي ونسلم على رسول الكريم أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. Alhamdulillah, we were really truly honored today to have listened to a beautiful message, and I think, it wakes up and stirs something within us that maybe some of us, we were oblivious of this, but there's very much importance that needs to be given to this message that has been given out today. And I was just sitting here and I was thinking, subhanallah, and somebody also sent me a message in the congregation now, that imagine being unable to hear. I don't like to use the word deaf, although it is that, but it just sounds so harsh, isn't it? Why? Because we don't experience it. But can you imagine how it feels? And somebody speaking, but I can't understand nothing that they are saying. How would we feel? Somebody speak to us and we try to understand, but nobody cares. I'm just standing there, nobody's assisting in any way. How do they feel about being a Muslim, and not being taught their deen? And this was a mas'ala that we discussed. I think it was about 6 months probably ago. It came, mashallah, we have a few friends who completed our studies, alhamdulillah. We're still studying, and we said, what is the mas'ala upon those of our deaf community who were Muslim, but they passed on. But remember, they went to schools that were not Islamic schools. They were taught a religion which was not their religion, but they died on the fact that Jesus died on the cross. Our brothers, your brother and my brother, and sister and my sister, they closed their eyes due to us being unable to come up with something, at least something. And I take my hat off for Dr. Qasim. May Allah preserve you. And I almost want to shed a tear. That somebody took the courage. Someone who saw there's a mess in our society. We are not worrying and caring about our own brothers and our sisters. Imagine we know now that if we are not going to make an effort, that they're going to close their eyes in a state where they don't understand Islam properly, and who's going to be blamed for that? Us, Jamaatul Muslimin. We need to, like so beautifully, the khutbah was started by the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ saying that لا يؤمن أحدهم حتى يحب لأخيه ما يحب لنفسه. That none of you will be able, right, to have complete faith unless you feel for your brother what you feel for yourself. You love for your brother what you love for yourself. They are our brothers, indeed they are. They are our sisters, indeed they are. So how come we are oblivious to the fact that they are moving around us, even not moving, they're living among us, and we don't care? May Allah forgive us first, for us not even having a thought. This was not the way of the Prophet ﷺ. Remember, even when the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ just frowned upon somebody, and who was the somebody? He was a blind person, and Allah revealed verses. Abasa wa tawalla an ja'ahu al-a'ma. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala came into the protection and looked and spoke out for this individual, subhanallah, that was not able to see, they didn't have sight. Yeah, we have brothers that don't have hearing, they have hearing. Allahu Akbar. May Allah soften our hearts. Inshallah, Jamaatul Muslimin, let us assist and aid this institution, the only institution. Yeah, we are fortunate in South Africa, alhamdulillah, in Cape Town. It came up here. Let us, inshallah, try to assist to the best of our ability. And inshallah, I'm confident, Dr. David, that soon Alwaha Institute is going to be one of the smartest institute. And our brothers and our sisters will be happy and full of joy when they look at the institute and they enter that institute, and they will get quality education, inshallah, which they deserve, just like you and I deserve, inshallah ta'ala. And I know I'm reaching out to our community again. We do a lot, alhamdulillah, our community does a lot, but inshallah, I'm sure and certain their hearts open today through the calling, and they will assist, inshallah, and that building will stand soon. Ameen ya Rabbal Alameen. Just one notice which makes us very proud, and this is for our Palestinian cause. Is there more notices, Asghar Bhai? You're sending me notices? Okay. So 2 siblings from Panorama. Young siblings. Girls. Azra and Zara Ismail. The daughter of Kabir Ismail, mashallah. One of our musallis in the masjid, have taken the initiative to raise funds for Palestine by making bracelets with the color of Palestinian flags. So alhamdulillah, this went out in our community, and alhamdulillah, with the support of our communities, they managed to raise 8,000 rand. 8,000 rand, Jamaatul Muslim. Who is this? 2 of our young individuals. This just makes us proud. And I'm sure and certain everyone that sits here as an elder, we are proud of those 2. They took it upon themselves. It's their initiative, mashallah. And they would like to hand over the funds to Masjid Tawbah to donate it to Gift of the Givers in aid of Palestine, inshallah ta'ala. The funds will be EFT'd into the Tawbah account. May Allah reward all those for their support, and may we continue to make dua for our Muslim ummah that are suffering around the world, and may Allah make it easy upon them, inshallah. This is from 2 little girls, alhamdulillah. May Allah accept from them. Let us train our kids. This is things that we need to bring alive in our community. Doesn't need to be always the monetary. Our hands can work. We are able to do so, alhamdulillah. Yeah, 2 girls have shown us that they can do this. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward them abundantly. And they say there's more. Inshallah, Sheikh Salama will do the Arabic khutbah for us, so it will be very short, inshallah. Sheikh is an expert in the Arabic language. MashaAllah, we are honored to have Sheikh with us today. So, bi'idhnillah, don't worry about the time, inshallah ta'ala. Alwaha will have a stand and a collection box outside, inshallah ta'ala. Bi'idhnillah tabarak wa ta'ala, our community will assist in that way. Masjid collections remains that of the masjid today as well, so there will be masjid collections as well, inshallah ta'ala. And there will be a separate bag for Gaza, for our Palestinian brothers and sisters who are suffering, inshallah ta'ala. Jazakumullah khairan, may Allah bless you all. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Allahumma salli ala sayyidina Muhammad.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu an la ilaha Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Hayya 'alas salat. Hayya 'alas salat.
محمد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. اللهم رب هذه الدعوة التامة والصلاة القائمة آتي سيدنا محمدا الوسيلة والفضيلة والشرف والدرجة العالية الرفيعة وابعث اللهم مقاما محمودا الذي وعدته وارزقنا شفاعته يوم القيامة إنك لا تخلف الميعاد برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وسلم.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله. حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
الحمد لله رب العالمين. نحمدك يا الله حمدا طيبا مباركا فيه كما ينبغي لجلال وجهك ولعظيم سلطانك. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له شهادة عليها نحيا وعليها نموت ويوم الحشر نلقاها. وأشهد أن محمدًا عبده ورسوله وصفيه من خلقه وحبيبه قد بلغ الرسالة وأدى الأمانة ونصح الأمة وكشف الله به الغمة وتركنا على المحجة البيضاء ليلها كنهارها. فصلوات ربي وسلامه عليك يا سيدي يا رسول الله وعلى صحابتك وآل بيتك ومن اهتدى بهديك واستنى بسنتك إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد، إخوة الإسلام، يقول الله تعالى في القرآن المجيد في سورة الإسراء بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم: إن السمع والبصر والفؤاد كل أولئك كان عنه مسؤولا. في هذه الآية المباركة من كتاب الله سبحانه وتعالى، الله سبحانه وتعالى ينبهنا ويرشدنا إلى أهمية الحواس التي أعطاها الله إلينا هبة من عنده. فيقول تعالى: إن السمع والبصر والفؤاد. ومن حيث الترتيب فقد رتب الله سبحانه وتعالى أهمية هذه الحواس، فبدأ بالسمع وهو أهم شيء وأول وسيلة يضعها الله سبحانه وتعالى في المخلوق، وهي آخر وسيلة تغادر الجسد بعد الوفاة، فإن الإنسان يظل يسمع حتى يدخل في قبره. ففي هذه الآية أحبتي تنبيه وتوجيه لنا على أهمية هذه الحواس، فهي مسؤولية لنا وعلينا. فالله سبحانه وتعالى يقول: إن السمع والبصر والفؤاد. سمعك وبصرك وفؤادك وإحساسك ويقينك، كل هذه مسؤوليات الله سبحانه وتعالى سيسألنا عنها يوم القيامة. كيف استخدمت سمعي؟ هل استخدمت سمعي في التجسس على خلق الله؟ كيف استخدمت بصري؟ هل استخدمت بصري في ارتكاب المحارم وارتكاب محارم الله؟ الفؤاد: هل استخدمت قلبي في التصديق واليقين بعقيدة الله وشرائعه، أم استخدمتها في باطل وزور وبهتان؟ فهذه أحبتي آية كريمة قوية مؤثرة توحي لنا أو تشعرنا بأهمية السمع والبصر والفؤاد. ويقول رسولنا المصطفى صلى الله عليه وسلم في الحديث: كلكم راع وكلكم مسؤول عن رعيته، فسمعك رعية أنت مسؤول عنها توجهها حيث أمرك الله، وبصرك أيضا هبة من الله سبحانه وتعالى، فعليك أن تعمل على حفظها واستخدامها في طاعة الله سبحانه وتعالى. وفي مقام آخر يقول القرآن في سورة ثم لتسألن يومئذ عن النعيم. فالنعيم هنا السمع نعيم، والرؤيا نعيم، وكل الحواس التي وهبنا الله لنا نعيم، وسنسأل عنها يوم القيامة. نسأل الله سبحانه وتعالى أن يرزقنا حسن صياغة واستخدام السمع والبصر والفؤاد. عباد الله، التائب من الذنب كمن لا ذنب له، أو كما قال: استغفروا الله العظيم يغفر لكم وأنتم موقنون بالإجابة. اللهم اغفر لنا ذنوبنا واسرافنا. الحمد لله، الحمد لله وكفى، وصلاة وسلاما على عباده الذين اصطفى. الحمد لله عدد ما كان، الحمد لله عدد ما يكون، الحمد لله عدد ما في علم الله المكنون. ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، شهادة تكون لنا نورا في قبورنا، وتكون لنا سندا على الصراط يوم القيامة. وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله وصفيه من خلقه وحبيبه، فصلوات ربي وسلامه عليك يا سيدي يا رسول الله، وعلى صحابتك وآل بيتك ومن اهتدى بهديك واستنى بسنتك إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد، أحبتي في الله، يقول الله تعالى في القرآن المجيد بعد: أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم، بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم: والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. ويقول رسولنا المصطفى صلى الله عليه وسلم في الحديث الشريف: البر لا يبلى، والذنب لا ينسى، والديان لا يموت، اعمل ما شئت فكما تدين تدان. ويقول رسولنا صلى الله عليه وسلم: ما من يوم جمعة إلا وفيه ساعة إجابة، فادعوا الله عسى أن تكون هذه الساعة. اللهم لا تجعل في جمعنا هذا ذنبا إلا غفرته، ولا مريضا إلا شفيته، ولا ضالا إلا هديته. اللهم ردنا إليك مردا جميلا، اللهم ردنا إليك مردا جميلا. اللهم اهد أبناءنا وبناتنا وثبتنا وإياهم على صراطك المستقيم. اللهم انصر إخواننا المجاهدين في فلسطين، اللهم انصرهم وأيدهم بجند من عندك، اللهم أيدهم بجند من عندك. اللهم إنهم مستضعفين يا الله، ولا حول لهم ولا قوة إلا بك يا الله. اللهم سدد رميهم، اللهم سدد رميهم. اللهم ألق الرعب والخوف في قلوب أعدائهم. اللهم انصرهم من عندك يا رب العالمين نصرا مؤزر. اللهم إن هؤلاء الفئة استضعفوا في الأرض يا الله، ولا ناصر لهم إلا إلاك يا الله، فانصرهم يا الله. اللهم انصرهم نصر عزيز مقتدر. اللهم اهلك الكفرة المعتدين. اللهم من أراد بالإسلام والمسلمين سوءا فاجعل كيده في نحره، وأنزل به بأسك الذي لا ترد عن القوم المجرمين. اللهم اهلك المنافقين من العرب والرؤساء، اللهم اهلكهم، اللهم اهلكهم. اللهم جمد الدم في عروقهم. اللهم أرنا فيهم بأسك يا رب العالمين الذي لا ترد عن القوم المجرمين. اللهم وفقنا إلى خير ما تحبه وترضى. عباد الله، إن الله يأمركم بثلاث وينهى عن ثلاث: يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى، وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي، يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. اذكروا الله العظيم يذكركم، واستغفروه يغفر لكم، وأقيموا الصلاة.
اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد. الله أكبر، الله أكبر، أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله، أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة، حي على الفلاح، قد قامت الصلاة، قد قامت الصلاة. الله أكبر، الله أكبر، لا إله إلا الله.
لا إله إلا الله. سيدنا نبينا محمد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم ومن والاه. استقيموا واستووا واعتدلوا. الله أكبر. سبحانك الله. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ألم نشرح لك صدرك ووضعنا عنك وزرك الذي أنقض ظهرك ورفعنا لك ذكرك فإن مع العسر يسرا إن مع العسر يسرا فإذا فرغت فانصب وإلى ربك فارغب. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده ربنا لك الحمد. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده ربنا لك الحمد. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. استغفر الله العظيم الذي لا إله إلا
استغفر الله العظيم استغفر الله العظيم استغفر الله العظيم التواب الرحيم الذي لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم ونتوب إليك ونسألك توبة ومغفرة وهداية لنا إنه هو التواب الرحيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وأصحابه وبارك وسلم. اللهم أنت السلام ومنك السلام وإليك يعود السلام، فحينا ربنا بالسلام وأدخلنا الجنة برحمتك دار السلام. تباركت ربنا وتعاليت يا ذا الجلال والإكرام. سمعنا وأطعنا غفرانك ربنا وإليك المصير. اللهم ارزقنا صلاة في المسجد الأقصى وهو حر عزيز. اللهم ارزقنا صلاة في المسجد الأقصى وهو حر عزيز. اللهم ارزقنا صلاة في المسجد الأقصى وهو حر عزيز برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. قال الله تعالى: إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وأصحابه وسلم. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. مقبول إن شاء الله. تقبل الله صلاة. أحسنتم يا أستاذ، جزاكم الله خيرا. حياكم الله.